little town in Central California now where the city manager, the new city manager, used to be in another town in Central California, has been working out a deal with a private prison developer to build a prison there on spec. You know what on spec means? The hunch is, if we build it, they will fill it. That's what on spec means, all right? So this private developer wants to build a prison on spec. Now, this developer did that in the city manager's former town, and while it took a few years before they found somebody who wanted to fill up those cages with human beings, they found somebody with the Federal Bureau of Prisons they found. So this city manager is being pretty smart and pretty cagey, and he's surrounded now by a cadre of boosters who are trying to figure out how to get out from under their sinking assets, mainly land, before the water crisis in Central California catches them all, and they can't get out from under it. I'm not going to talk today about the water crisis, but I just want to raise that as another flag because that's another part of the story. So, these town entrepreneurs then go somewhere, let's say to the county, and they say to the county, well, look, we have nothing but poor people in this town. Unemployment 36%. Nearly 50% of households are receiving some kind of public assistance, whether it's health care, workfare, that kind of thing. So, you, county economic or other development office, won't you give us $4 or $5 million so that we can add sewers and roads and gutters and maybe a little wastewater treatment plant so that this prison will come and locate in our community? So what is the town going to exchange for this? Does the 36% unemployment go down? I guarantee it doesn't. I guarantee it doesn't. In the city of Delano, in 1990, there was 26% unemployment. They opened a prison there, a big state prison, more than 5,000 people in this prison in 1991. And now we're in the year 2001, and the unemployment in Delano is 26%, right? The locals don't get the jobs, is what I'm saying. So aside from all the evil that prison represents, it's also true there's an additional evil, and that is that prisons don't constitute local economic development projects for the poor towns where they're located. So that kind of gives you an overview of some of what the processes are that go into prisons being located or sited, as we say, in the trade where they are. Well, what's happening there on the ground? Is everybody saying, terrific, let's get a prison? Not really. And what's really surprising to me, surprising and gratifying to me, is not only can you find in every single town where a public or private developer wants to put a prison some local opposition to the prison, but, and this is the important part, that local opposition is less and less not in my backyard opposition. Prisons are good for someplace else. And more opposition that says prisons are bad for everywhere. So what we have then are burgeoning grassroots organizing committees, people who call themselves by such neutral names as the Organization of Concerned Citizens, who are trying to figure out how to stop a prison in their community and to use arguments and methods to stop that prison so it can't go somewhere else. This is a new thing. 10 years ago, people were worried about stopping a prison within a particular jurisdiction, and if the prison wound up locating just outside that boundary, people kind of said, well, we don't really like it, but there's nothing we can do. Nowadays, people are thinking that maybe the scale of opposition, the scale at which they have to be organizing, while absolutely local, because that's where the problem is, has got to be wider so that that prison doesn't pop up down the road a few miles on the other side of some boundary line. So I've been meeting now more and more people who are what I've been calling grassroots planners. I call them grassroots planners, and they seem to be good with the name, because what they're doing in their political work is, as I said, not only figuring out how to keep something from happening in their community, but also trying to figure out how they can make their political work strong enough and and their force field, if you will, that they build broad enough so that that prison and prisons can't go somewhere else, right? So they're actually doing this planning that has spatial and temporal dimensions, and it's pretty amazing. Some of the people that I've been working with include, for example, a binational organization of indigenous people from Oaxaca who live in a colonia outside of Fresno, who do that long circular migration between Oaxaca and Fresno, who, not surprisingly, didn't need anybody to tell them that sooner or later they are very much the kind of people who will fill the prisons that are built. So they're working on this front. People working against environmental racism are starting to work on this front. And people who are trying to figure out different ways to do local economic development in an era where the only legitimate state seems to be the carceral state, or somewhat more benignly, but not really, an entrepreneurial state, are trying to figure out how to take back control of public wealth and use it for public good. There's just one other thing that I wanted to